Kaugnay sa pagbasa ng sakdal sa mga akusado sa kaso kaugnay ng pork barrel scam, makakasama natin sa diskusyon dito sa studio si Attorney Raymond Fortun, isang criminal law expert at legal counsel ng grupong Citizens Crime Watch, isa sa petitioners sa PDAF at DAP cases. Magandang umaga, Attorney Fortun. Linawin lang po natin, you are legal counsel for this Citizens Crime Watch group, but you don't have a stake directly in this particular case.
No. Okay. Kasi kami yung trabaho namin really talaga nung pumutok yung issue ng PDAF at saka nung DAP, kami yung nag-represent basically nung interest ng mamamayang Pilipino. And we felt that there was a need to go to the Supreme Court to question the misuse of public funds and to hopefully to eradicate itong unlawful and corrupt practice na ito.
Okay, so you're here as a technical law expert, so you're not here to advocate for any particular decision?
No, we are all now bystanders and, interested bystanders.
Okay, so today, arraignment ng mga ilang akusado, including one senator. Just for the benefit of non-lawyers in our audience, ano ba ho ang arraignment? Anong ibig sabihin yan?
Sa isang criminal case, ang pinaka-importante dito ay kailangan dapat yung akusado o yung sinasakdal na intindihan niya kung ano yung demanda laban sa kanya. So, ang unang-unang gagawin ay babasahan siya ng sakdal. Ano ba ang allegedly yung ginawa mo? Anong pamamaraan? Sino yung mga kasama mo? Now, tatanungin siya, ito ba'y inaamin mo o hindi? At doon ngayon,
yun ang guilty or not guilty?
Yes. Sasabihin siya ngayon na, what's your plea? And the answer would be either guilty or not guilty. Or, pwede rin naman na hindi siya magsalita at all. In which case, ang gagawin ng husgado ay it will declare that he is presumed to have uttered the word not guilty.
Okay,
kahit na hindi siya magsalita.
Okay, so it doesn't seem like magkakaroon ng sorpresa sa araw na to. I mean, obviously, sinabi na nila sa publiko na not guilty sila. So, bakit naman iibahin yung plea nila sa korte?
Merong one thing na pwedeng gawin ng isang akusado, yung tinatawag nga na motion to quash. At any time before siya mag-enter ng plea of guilty or not guilty, pwede siya maghain ito. A motion to quash, how is basically a motion to dismiss. Sinasabi niya that there is a very serious technical defect in the charge against him such that dapat ma-dismiss yung kaso sa kanya. It can be a number of 9 grounds under Rule 117, Section 3 ng ating Rules on Criminal Procedure. And it can be that the facts do not constitute an offense, walang jurisdiction yung court sa kanya, it does not comply with a certain particular form, the one who issued, yung officer who issued the charge, is not authorized to do so, pwedeng na-extinguish na yung crime, pwede namang meron double jeopardy. I mean, these are the grounds.
So may legal option yung abogado nila Senador Revilla sa araw na to. So ano yung gaano katagal bago magdesisyon yung Sandigan Bayan sa motion end? Right there and then, pwede sila magsabi na motion...
No, hindi. That's not gonna happen. Kasi in a situation like that, definitely the court is going to give the prosecution sufficient time in order to oppose yung motion to quash na yun. Kasi importante yung motion to quash. Pag sinabi ng husgado, granted, tapos yung kaso. So, this is a very important pleading, especially for the defense. So, importante na bigyan ng pagkakataon yung prosecution to say na, kung meron mang depekto, pwede naman yan amendahan kung meron ngang depekto. So, the court has the right also to direct the prosecution, if indeed there's a defect in the charge, to just make an amendment to the charge para it will conform now to both the form prescribed by law and what would be necessary in order for the accused to be duly notified kung ano nga talaga yung charge against him.
Yeah, but any lawyer can claim that there is a defect in the charges. So it would seem to be a smart legal strategy just to file a motion to quash. Kasi malay mo, baka yun
baka makalusot. Pwede.
Baka makalusot.
Yeah, of course.
So sa tingin mo, that's the most likely scenario, mag-file ng ganon yung mga abogado nila Senador Revilla at i-defer itong kaso na to, itong hearing
It's a possibility, Howie, Pero if you will remember, I think either yesterday or a couple of days ago, actually the prosecution amended already the information. They changed the information to something wherein si Janet Lapoles appears to be the central figure in this scam, in this scheme. And now, ang pinalalabas nila is that Senator Revilla is now a conspirator. Ang pinalalabas nila na in conspiracy daw ngayon si Senator Revilla together with all the other accused. That substantially changes the charge, as well as now also the amount of evidence that the prosecution is now compelled to present.
And what was it originally? Ano ba yung it was amended from what?
Originally, ang pinalalabas nila na Napoles was the one who used the PDAF in order to accumulate ill-gotten wealth for her own personal benefit. No, in other words, parang lumalabas si Senator Revilla was merely now a happy recipient of kickbacks. No? Ngayon, binago nila ito, and they now made it appear that Senator Revilla was now in conspiracy with Janet Napoles from the very beginning.
Meaning, mas mahirap patunayan yan.
Oh yes, definitely.
Kasi yung posibleng ebidensya dyan? Kailangan may mga record ng mga pag-uusap or correspondence.
Correct, that's right. Meron dapat meetings na between Napoles and Revilla na, ganitong gagawin natin, ito yung plano natin dyan, ganito yung sistema na gagawin natin. That is something that may be quite substantial.
So originally, ang charge ay parang passive participant lang dito sa scheme. Parang nakinabang lang siya without necessarily being a mastermind or part of the planning of this big scam. Kumbaga si Napoles was the sole mastermind nung umpisa. Ngayon, binago na sinali na itong senador. Si Senator Revilla lang yung ang naging subject ng amendment na to.
Well, lumalabas, everybody was now part of the scheme. In a conspiracy naman kasi, meron naman kasing mga ibang akusado who probably later came in, but hindi naman necessary that all of the accused who are to be arraigned today were all part of this master plan, na lahat sila ngayon ay nagka-meeting, nag-agree sila to a common criminal intent. But remember, in a conspiracy kasi, the act of one is the act of all. Ibig sabihin na kahit na, like for example, kung yan ay robbery, yung mga taong pumasok sa loob ng bangko at namarel, same ang kanyang, yung kung sino yung driver, pareho ang kanilang criminal liability, kahit driver lang. So, but ang importante dun is nagkaisa sila. Now, as to how the prosecution is going to prove that because of their change dun sa kanilang information, that is something that we will look forward to. No? Kasi if you will remember, when they filed that information initially, basically it's based on the evidence which was presented. And as far as they were concerned, ginawa na nila yung information. Sinabi nila, Janet Napoles, ikaw ang central dito.
From the very beginning, sila sabi nga na siya yung mastermind.
And it would appear also kahit sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearings, ganun na lumalabas. Even Ben-Hur Luis says, Janet Napoles started...
So what's the reason for this change? Yun nga para sa marami, mga observers katulad ko, parang mas madaling patunayan na nakinabang yung isang tao kaysa sa yung kasali siya mismo sa conspiracy.
It's a substantial and very serious change, Howie. Why? Because we're talking about plunder. Now, if we take a look at the definition of plunder, malinaw sa RA 7080, as amended, na it has to be a public officer who, by himself or in conspiracy or in connivance with another, had amassed, accumulated, or acquired ill-gotten wealth through a combination or series of acts in the amount of at least 75 million. So sa madaling salita, pag tiningnan mo yung batas, Howie, and this is actually very basic in criminal law, para mo ma-convict ang isang tao, kailangan merong criminal intent. Now, in the criminal intent in this case, it is not just to get money, it is to plunder. Meaning, importante na from the very beginning, dapat itong taong ito was already part of the plan to amass ill-gotten wealth.
Okay, yan, pinapakita sa mga viewers natin ngayon sa monitor, yung definition under the law of plunder. So, kailangan talaga public officer, no? So, it's not enough to say that...
nakinabang.
Nakinabang at a non-public official, katulad ni Janet Lim Napoles, ay yung mastermind. Kailangan meron siya talagang kasabwat to make it plunder.
Correct.
So, yun ang iniisip ng prosecution.
Yes, obviously they saw na kung sasabihin mo lang Janet Napoles is the central figure and that... I think the term used in the original information was that Senator Revilla received. Iba yung received sa collected.
Okay, Attorney, this has been going on for months already. So bakit ngayon lang naisip ng, matagal nang pinag-uusapan tong plunder. We all know what it means under the law. And then yun nga, pinagtatakahan din namin, bakit si Janet Lim Napoles yung pinaka-central figure dito sa plunder case when she's not even a government official?
Well, ulitin ko, Janet Lim Napoles is the central figure dito sa scheme na ito. Now, Now, as to what charge will be made no, in court, that is the job of the prosecutors. No? Titingnan nila yung ebidensya. Ano bang batas yung na-violate dito? That's why ito ngayon, ang final nila was plunder. But now apparently somebody smart got to see the law itself and so na, oy, teka, mukhang meron yatang problema dito because in plunder, it has to be a public official na mismong siyang nagdesisyon para lumikop ng napakalaking pera.
Yan ang tanong ko nga. Parang that seems to be very basic in the plunder law. I mean, yun nga. I mean, I just read it on the screen, no?
Yes, it's very clear.
It's the very first words.
Exactly. Bakit hindi nila nakita yon? You'll have to speak to the ombudsman about that. No? Sila yung nagsampa ng kaso. But the most that they did ngayon was now to use the second phrase. You will notice it says, by himself or in connivance with others. So dun ngayon nila pinapasok.
In connivance. Oh.
So ngayon pinalabas nila that the public official connived.
Okay, kung hindi naman mapatunayan na kasali siya sa conspiracy, nakinabang lang, that's still a crime.
Yes,
right?
it is. It is. It's
Pero
graft and corrupt practices.
But that doesn't mean na ma-acquit itong mga ito. Kung hindi mapatunayan na nag-connive sila, kasali sila sa conspiracy, nakinabang lang sila.
Oh, in such an instance, if what is charged is different from what is proven, meaning kung ang mapapatunayan lamang is nakinabang, hindi na nagkipagsabwatan, then the trial court still has the option to convict for the lesser offense of graft and corrupt practices.
Even if it's an amount greater than, I think in the law, it's 75 million. So
Yes.
kasi pinag-uusapan natin amounts dito, umaabot ng $500 million, may 250 million. So even if it's that big, pwedeng graft lang yon. Kasi
Yes,
plunder, to qualify for plunder, there's a certain amount, di ba?
Well, yes. Yun nga mali ng publiko. Minsan iniisip nila, pag more than 550 million dati, ngayon yung batas nakalagay more than 75 million, automatically plunder na kagad. Hindi.
Kailangan may connivance, ang sinasabi mo.
When we speak of plunder, we're talking about one, na kailangan unang-una dapat yung public officer ang nag-initiate, that's my opinion, yan ang nag-initiate, conceptualize, and push through with it. Meaning talagang part siya ng
And Janet
plan.
Lim Napoles is not a public
Is not a public officer.
Okay, we have some graphics na pinrepare natin namin. Maaari bang magpiyansa sa kasong ito? I mean, so, plunder obviously is a non-bailable offense. Kung hindi nga mapatunayan at bumaba sa graft, so pwedeng ganon. No? So in this case, in the court case, pwedeng hindi mapatunayan nga na conspiracy ibababa to graft.
Okay, let me be clear about this. Even in non-bailable offenses, yung akusado can still file a petition for bail. It's a misnomer of sorts.
Okay.
Pag sinabi kasing non-bailable, parang hindi ka na pwede magpiyansa. The truth is pwede. If upon filing of the petition for bail, the prosecution now will be compelled by the court to present a sampling of its evidence to prove na matibay talaga yung ebidensya nila for the crime charged. Ngayon, pag lumabas dun sa ebidensya na mahina yung ebidensya nila to prove plunder, then the court can actually grant bail. Pwede.
Okay, let's see the roadmap. We have a graphic that shows a roadmap in the Sandigan Bayan. Okay, yung graphic please. So pagkatapos itong arraignment, pre-trial ang susunod na proseso. Bakit ho ba kailangan dumaan sa pre-trial at hindi na lang diretso sa trial proper ang proseso?
Okay. Pre-trial is actually a very important part of our court processes, no? Kasi dito sa pre-trial, dito nangyayari yung masasabi nating parang pag-simplify ng kaso. The parties are now asked to simplify the issues. They're asked about a simplification of yung mga facts. No? There are certain facts na wag na natin pagtalunan. Doon na lamang yung, kunyari, simple things, no? The identity of the accused, yung jurisdiction ng court, certain things that he is a senator or a public official na during such period of time, ito yung kanyang length of service and so forth. I mean, little things na pwede naman pagkaisahan na para hindi na kailangan patunayan.
Okay.
Therefore, it shortens the period. You now agree on the number of witnesses to be presented. You produce all the documents that are going to be marked and identified during the trial and then already have it marked. Why is that important in the criminal justice system? Kasi ang problema dito is that hindi dapat magkaroon ng mga surprises. No? Ang criminal case, kailangan dapat yan parang baraha. Labas mo kagad lahat ng baraha mo. Kung ano yung mga akusasyon mo laban sa akusado, kung ano yung ebidensya mo laban sa akusado, kung sino yung mga testigo mo, kailangan i-present mo. And if you're not able to do that at this stage, there should be no surprises. Some courts in our justice system will say, pag hindi mo in-identify yan during the pre-trial, you cannot present it ever. Parang kinalimutan mo na yan, parang tinapon mo na yan. So, it actually is very helpful in simplifying the issues also para rin ma-define kung gaano ba talaga kalakas yung kaso at gaano tatagal. So, for example, kung sabihin ng prosecution, magpipresenta kami ng 100 testigo. So, the court says, sino-sino yung mga testigo na yan? And then, you go through one by one, ano yung gist ng testimony niyan, they can already agree. Pwede bang wag na lang ito? Kasi ulit lang naman yan dito sa mga ibang testigo. O itong mga taong ito, 5. O pwede bang instead na 5, 2 na lang? Kasi para, the object really is to arrive at some sort of consensus so that the case can be simplified and that the trial can be shortened.
Okay.
Important.
All right. Speaking of a shortening of the trial, marami nagsabi na kailangan tapusin to sa administrasyon ng Aquino. Otherwise, walang chance daw na magkaroon ng katapusan itong or closure dito sa issue na to. So, this is a huge case, no?
It is.
10,000 documents daw bawat kaso, no? So, is there a chance na ma-shorten nga itong trial period at magkaroon ng resolution to?
I have very low opinion about that. No? Tingin ko, hindi mangyayari yan. It's not gonna happen during the term of President Aquino. Why? Simple lang eh. Ulitin ko yan. Malalaman natin yan during the pre-trial kung ilan yung magiging testigo ng prosecution, ilan yung documents that they're going to present. I mean, these things take time to identify, to have marked, etc. It's just impossible. I'll give you a parallelism na lang, just to compare. Tingnan natin yung kaso ni President Estrada. Nag-umpisa yung kaso ng 2001, October 2001, natapos siya ng, I think, June of 2007. That's, at least 6 years. And dun sa kaso na yon, 75 witnesses yung prosecution, 75 witnesses yung defense. And documents was probably about 500, no? So, tingnan na lang natin. And we were hearing that case, twice a week. So, makikita mo na, and we were only looking at 3 accused noong time na yon. It was Erap, Jinggoy, and Serapio. Here, we're looking at easily 16 accused, all of whom have the right to present their own evidence, all of whom have, o yung mga abogado niyan, have the right to propound questions sa isang testigo. So, isang testigo lamang, you're looking at 16 possible lawyers doing cross-examination. And all of them have that right, by the way. Kasi syempre, kung ako yung abogado nung pinakamababa, isa lang tanong ko dyan, anong kinalaman ng kliyente ko dyan sa mga sinasabi mong testimony? Ang sagot ng testigo, wala. Oh, good, upo na ako. But that's still a right of that lawyer to ask a question on behalf of yung akusado na yan. This is a huge case with a lot of accused, with thousands of documents. The chances of this thing being finished before President Aquino ends his term is probably minuscule, if none.
Okay, well, of course, we know that hindi lang naman to legal case. This is a political process, no?
Yes.
As far as the public's concerned. Para nakikita nila, the wheels of justice are moving, may proseso. Ito, nakakulong na yung mga ilang sikat na mga akusado. There's been some reform in the system, di ba?
Yes.
The Supreme Court has spoken on this. And I think, you think people will be patient enough to see this through?
I hope so.
Public opinion is important here. No?
It's important. That's why it's important that the public gets to see na the cases are moving. At the very least, yun lang muna. Kasi ang importante is that the wheels of justice are turning. It may be slow, but yung pagiging slow kasi, Howie, is also important because if you speed it up too much, then you violate certain rights as well. No? Kailangan pangalagaan din. This is a two-sided thing. The prosecution's right to effect justice upon those who it perceives to have committed crime, and also the accused's right to due process as well, meaning na all of their rights are protected, that the evidences submitted to them are presented in a judicious manner, that the justices themselves are actually perceived to be unbiased, and with a very clear and objectionable attitude towards the trial. I mean, kung ito ay masusunod.
It sounds like a fine balancing act, no? You cannot be too fast kasi nga baka sabihin unfair naman dun sa mga accused. You cannot be too slow because
yes,
let's face it, the public is thirsting for blood in this case. No?
That's why, I mean, when the time comes naman, when if there's a, let's say, particular motion to do certain things are filed, I'm pretty sure we would all have our own opinions about it. And I'm sure you'll be asking me about it also. And I'll be there naman to give my objective opinion about it as well.
Okay, well, salamat po sa inyong paliliwanag. Maraming salamat, Attorney Raymond Fortun, isang criminal law expert at legal counsel ng grupong Citizens Crime Watch, isa sa petitioner sa PDAF at DAP cases.